I'm Jim Flyzik, and a little bit about me. I spent 28 years in the federal government. I was 18 years at Secret Service, where I had a number of IT and communications positions, kind of the CIO before they called it CIO. I then moved to Treasury, where I was the CIO for 7 years. And after 9/11, I worked in the White House Office of Homeland Security as the senior technology advisor to then Governor Ridge. Also along the way, I had the opportunity to run the Federal CIO Council for several years, as well as I head up the IT team that did the Reinventing Government. So why am I making this video? Nobody asked me to make this video, nor am I being paid to make this video or anything like that. It seems now I have a radio show, a monthly radio show on the WTOP affiliate, Federal News Radio, 1500 AM, and we talk a lot about government programs. And since I still believe I'm a government employee at heart, I'm always trying to help look at how government programs can be improved and what can make them work better. And I'm concerned that there still are so many programs that are on the high risk list, or so many large IT programs that the government gets involved in, result in cost overruns, time overruns, budget overruns, and sometimes just outright failures. So I've been trying to figure out, why do government programs fail at a rate seemingly more frequently than some large systems in the private sector? And I've come after a lot of discussions with private sector CIOs that one of the big issues is the requirements definition phase and the way it's done in the government compared to the way it's done in successful organizations in the private sector. You see, the way the government does requirements today is they hire a contractor who will go from office to office and maybe interview 20 IT people, program people, stakeholders that are going to be involved with this large system, and interview them sequentially, which can take months and months and months, and then comes out with, say, 300-400 pages of text, which is the requirements document. You then hand that text document over to another contractor and say, here, build this. And lo and behold, what happens when the system is finally delivered? It doesn't meet anyone's expectations. It's not what those 20 people envisioned in their mind what the system would be. So consequently, then we start with redoing the requirements, change orders, more time, more money, more frustration, and then the finger pointing starts, whose fault it is, the contractor's fault, the government's fault. Different parts of the agency may be at conflict with what they want and what it should be. So how are leading commercial companies, or some of the greatest CIOs in the world, what do they do? Well, they don't do any of that. What they've done away with is this idea that text is ambiguous. We don't want textual documents. So what they do is they take those same 20 folks, and as opposed to sequentially interviewing them and creating this text document, they put the 20 people in a room. And in a matter of days, they use visualization software to visualize or pull out of the minds of all those individuals, those stakeholders, what this system should look like at the end. You know, you can compare it to building a house with a spouse. Would you build a house looking strictly at blueprints? No, you're going to want to look at sort of a picture of what it's going to look like finished and what the lawn would look like and so forth. Same thing with building planes or building ships. It's only with large IT systems that we don't do the simulation, the modeling, the visualization. However, today, some of the leading IT companies have adopted visualization as a way to get requirements right. The benefits are just tremendous. I mean, time is obvious. You can do now in days what used to take perhaps months, even years. The obvious cost savings with the reduced time. There may be a go, no-go decision could be made. When you do the visualization, you may realize with those stakeholders in the room, that's not what we really want. So now, without spending a penny on development, you're able to say, let's not do that project. Another benefit you get is now all of a sudden around the table, the stakeholders are all working together, and they may actually start liking each other, as opposed to that finger pointing and everybody blaming everybody. Now everybody's working collectively. It also sets up for firm fixed price contracts. It sets up for performance-based contracts because you can get things done much, much quicker. And it coordinates with enterprise architectures and service-oriented architectures, because now you've got a visualization of what the system will look like. You have business processes defined behind it that need to be programmed, but if you've got a service-oriented architecture, you may be able to begin pulling in pre-programmed artifacts or pre-programmed objects, so you may not even need to write nearly as much code during the development process. And I think the other major benefit of looking at visualization as a way of doing requirements is it really does drive culture change in an organization, because it requires those stakeholders to begin working together to define common platforms, common solutions, as opposed to what we have today, where everybody has different directions and ideas about what needs to be done. And I spent a lot of time with CIOs in the private sector looking at these issues, and we spent a lot of time on our radio show here at Federal News Radio talking about advanced technologies and innovative technologies and how it can dramatically improve government IT programs. I heard a CIO, one of these visualization companies, say that by 2020 he believes all requirements definition will be visualized. And I tend to agree. I think that's exactly what's going to happen. Thanks, appreciate the time.